So one of the more challenging things that we deal with is knowing that there's not a right answer. And it is, I think it's actually at the heart of many of the discussions that are going on in popular culture right now that we see, is that a lot of people are sometimes kind of half right with what they're saying and half wrong with what they're saying. And it's never really clear in terms of whether there is a right answer. And I want you to realize that with most of the decisions that you're going to make, whether you are in graduate school, whether you're a professor, it doesn't matter, whether you are, just starting out, you're in high school, you got to get used to that feeling of not knowing that this is the right decision that you're actually making. And this is a really important part of actually making decisions. So there is this decision-making framework that we have that is kind of like the normal decision-making framework that we have. It's called the rational choice model. And this rational choice model gets you to think of what alternatives actually are. So you have a problem, right? And then you have to come up with some alternatives to that problem. You come up with criteria that sort of that address the problem. And then you rank order, you sort of pick the best alternative for solving that problem. And then hopefully you get some sort of positive feedback from that problem that you actually just solved, right, by having that right alternative. The problem is you never know ever in life whether you chose the best alternative. And we have in science, right, we spend a great deal of time trying to figure out what is the right alternative. We've got all sorts of mathematical models, regression techniques. We argue about different theories, all these kind of things. The problem is, in the real world, we don't know if any of those things actually do work. And there's all sorts of reasons because of the context that you're actually in, right? So we have a lot of clarity about what is perhaps a better alternative, but in your specific context, we never quite know. And this is actually something that many graduate students actually struggle with. This is one of the harder things to deal with when you get into graduate school and you actually start doing research, is realizing that there isn't a right choice. There's often just a choice that seems better. And there's different ways that we can sort of assess how it seems better, and there's lots of discussion about validity and reliability and all these sort of fancy terms. And in reality, it just is a choice that you have to argue to say that this thing is a little better than something else. And it might not be. That's the thing that we often sort of come back to, is that it might not be. There's often many times, most scientific studies are almost impossible to actually go back and replicate again because they're complicated. They're very difficult to do. Now, they shouldn't be, but in reality, they actually are very difficult, and it requires a great deal of infrastructure, a great deal of money, a lot of work to go and replicate these things. So knowing this, what do we do? Do we just throw up our hands and say that everything is just not, we can't do anything, this is all just, problematic? No, we make the best choice that we have given the information that we have right now. And then when you make that choice, you move forward, and then you just simply have to rely on that choice, that it was the right choice. You're never going to know if this choice was the right choice for you. And you have to be okay with that. That's where it comes that I talk about, the two things that are so incredibly important that I talk about on this channel, is that you have to have this just unbelievable determination and grind to keep going and to not give up. I think that is vitally important, because you're going to make a decision and you're going to give up on that thing that you're working on far before you start getting the rewards of what you're actually doing. And the second thing is a lot about forgiveness and being kind to yourself and really gentle on the people around you. I think, realizing this, the challenges that you face in many of these things, particularly in discovery and search, which I believe that we're all, as human beings, actually doing discovery and search, because the moment that we're living right now, this very moment, has never existed. And now it's in the past. And now this moment right now has never existed. And we have to be okay with making choices that are somewhat problematic, but it's the best that you can do with the information that you have. And once you have that choice, once you made that decision, you go forward and you keep going forward, and you have the confidence to say, hey, this was good enough and I'm okay with it. And once you get to that, of that moment where you can say, it's good enough and I'm okay with it without being a jerk. That's a hard thing to do, because one defense mechanism that we have is just to be a jerk and say that I'm perfect. But that's not true. You just simply say that this is good enough, and I go forward, and then I make that choice, and I keep making other choices. And eventually, hopefully, good things come. If you just have that determination, you keep narrowing in on what you're trying to do and keep working towards something, and then having an awful lot of forgiveness, an awful lot of emotional strength to just be kind to you and everybody else around you. All right, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Take care, and have a wonderful day. Bye.